Welcome back to Soul Strippers and Sexuality Sunday. We're talking about sexual predators today and what each and every single one of us can do in order to stop this in its tracks. For most of us, it is our subconscious that walks us into relationships, not our conscious, and our subconscious mind is full of shadows. Then guess what happens? Those shadows are mirrored by our partner. So all relationships come together and there are soul dynamics that happen on purpose. And the subconscious mind is what's really ruling our lives, which is if we are unhealed, full of traumas, full of powerlessness, full of fear, full of anxiety, full of all kinds of things that's actually attracting things back to us. And if we do not heal at the subconscious level, we continue to stay in these patterns. Teal Swan is the person that did that quote, and she talks about a lot of the same things that I do, and she is a healer that went through whole dynamics of childhood and being in a cult-like situation where she was pretty much locked up and tortured and went through herself in this whole process and healed in this situation and got away at 17 from the sexual predators, but she used this as a healing tool and says these same kind of concepts in her work. So I highly recommend looking at Teal Swan and some of her YouTubes and the work that she's put out, because it's a baseline of a lot of same things that have came through for me and the subconscious traumas that I've been working on, a lot of other people that are expanding beyond themselves are working on. When we recognize that nothing here is just random, everything is on purpose, and everyone is just attracted back to us to reflect our traumas. If we have sexual encounters that there is some kind of personal issues in, then we can start looking at it backwards. What is this reflecting about me? Children and people who are susceptible to sexual predators are living out their soul issues, living out these subconscious wounds. So feeling loved and adored on these false beliefs. There is a dynamic that happens, and especially with social media and women, children, men, young boys, however the dynamics work out, there is this sort of someone is giving me attention. And if you're empty inside and you don't have a strong inner core and a solid sense of yourself, your self-love, and your self-worth, then you need to get it from an outside source. Well, the outside source takes advantage of that and is manipulating it in order to get something from you, which makes you feel icky in the end. But when they are feeding the ego, they are stroking the, oh, you look so pretty, and all these kind of things that are going on in order to give that person something that they are lacking inside. If you think about it in the terms of someone who is starving and they don't know how to source their own food. So if someone comes along and says, oh, I have food for you, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, please give me the food. But if you know how to make your own food and someone offers you food, then you don't snatch onto it like a starving child. And this is the same thing that happens with these sexual predators, is they're just looking through the database to see who will pick up on these cues. So there's an energy exchange between each party, and the sexual predator is doing their role in order to show the person that they have this imbalance and create suffering. So once the healing work is done, the laws of attraction don't need to bond the soul into situations, relationships, and soul contracts with dysfunctional dynamics. And what we think is the dysfunction is coming from the sexual predator, coming from that person. But what's happening is we have inner wounds and they are attracting these personality types to us. It makes us responsible and it puts us in control of the situation. So what can you do as a victim? Heal your inner wounds and traumas. Don't have sex if you don't want to. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if it's with somebody that's pressuring you, that is in a marriage relationship, or if it is a sexual predator themselves, somebody that's just looking to use you in order to get what they want, but they do not truly care for you. They do not truly care for you as a person. Find your self-love, your approval, and your worth within yourself, and trust in the gifts you have been given on this earth. Don't let this exchange be happening where sexuality is a tool in order to get security or some sort of tainted dynamic that's within us that attracts that back to us. If you have children and you are concerned about them being targeted, especially on social media, be open and honest about these situations. The biggest thing is that people don't communicate. And if you have your own wounds, these sexual traumas create genetic lines just like the color of your skin do. So there's a DNA that's a physical DNA, and there's an energetic DNA that has traumas in it, that has these personal issues that haven't been resolved yet. And then our children get to go through them. And then either we will be re-triggered from a trauma from the past, or we will be healed and we will realize that they're no longer triggering our inner trauma because they will heal and evolve through it. And as a strong parent, you will know the tools in order to get them help they need. So a lot of people, if they have some sort of sexual predator and they're telling people about it, and then they are not heard and people do not validate them, it's because they are still looking for outside sources in order to validate them and in order to be heard. So you've got to hear your own cries. You've got to validate yourself before other people can mirror that back to you. So make sure they're a solid sense of themselves. They know their own worth. They have a deep self-love that's not dependent on others. Do the same thing for yourself. Work through your traumas. The best thing that we can do for future generations is to heal the genetic loads of all of our karma, our unhealed wounds, and our traumas. This is how we can stop the need for the dynamics to happen. And this is how we can stop sex trafficking, stop these sexual predators, is by healing all of these wounds. And if our children decide along the line somewhere that this is going to happen to them, we know how to help them and work through their own traumas because we've already done it. I'm going to put a link to one of Teal Swan's videos down below. If you're someone who has doubts with some sort of situation where it is a sort of cult-like childhood wound or past trauma that you're looking to deal with, she's a great resource, and she also has a lot of great videos and YouTubes, and it's just nice to be able to get the same message from several different people so that somewhere the light bulb's going to go on. And that's where we're at right now in enlightenment, is healing all these sort of traumas, genetic karma, these loads that are going on, and becoming completely healthy, completely healed, completely whole, so that the earth, our relationships, and everything else will come into alignment. So you can check me out at www.soulstrippers.com. I'm a past life regressionist. I also do healing work. I have an online program, and I am just looking forward to us all moving through these dark ages and getting to the stages of enlightenment. Thanks for watching. Have a great Sunday.